James here from the Gator Nation Football Podcast, welcoming you to another edition of the Film Review. And on this episode, we'll be taking a look at Florida's defense versus South Carolina's offense. Coming into this game, we knew that South Carolina's offensive line had been struggling, one of the worst in the country. Their rushing attack, one of the worst in the country. Their quarterback, Spencer Rattler, had been playing extremely well. I had called him a magician on the podcast as he has been able to escape pressure after pressure after pressure. And he's been able to remain productive through the air. So we expected Florida to have some difficulty stopping South Carolina's solid route combinations and their passing attack, but we did not expect Florida to struggle so mightily in all other facets of defense. What they put on film for this game was certainly very disappointing. One of their worst performances of the season, one of the worst under the Armstrong era, perhaps worse for Coach Ham than the performance versus Kentucky, because some of the concepts Florida utilized in this game, I think, were not exactly the best ones. However, there is a silver lining. Despite getting gashed on a majority of plays, despite giving up a ton of points, they did answer the bell, get off the mat, and get 2 stops with the game on the line in order to seal the game for Florida. That is a significant silver lining. This defense also, of course, with a lot of young players, a lot of inexperienced players, but make no mistake about it, Coach Ham and the boys are going to be studying this film during the bye week, trying to get right and trying not to repeat the performances we have now seen versus Kentucky and South Carolina, taking this defense from a hope to be a consistent top 30 or so unit, more realistically to an inconsistent unit that can be really high or perhaps really low. And Florida's got to find a way to clean that up if they want to get more wins with a very difficult back end of the schedule. As always, if you like this content, sub to this channel, like this video, follow us on social media, drop us a dono where you can support our efforts to bring you more of this type of content all season long. Check out the podcast each and every Monday where we bring you in-depth analysis on the Florida Gators, and check out our merch. All right, with all of that being said, let's take a look at the film and see what we can learn.
After 2 successful plays to start the game, it looks like Florida's defense is not going to repeat what happened to Kentucky, but looks can be deceiving. You can see Florida's defense excellent on 3rd down, 9th best in college football. They're solid on success rate on a variety of options. This is a favorable situation for Florida. We talked on the podcast about how Spencer Rattler is a magician in this offense. He escapes a really bad offensive line. South Carolina changed almost everyone on their offensive line with regards to where they played or who they were. So a lot of the same players are playing, but they were in different positions, and some new guys were playing. They tried everything. Give credit to them there with regards to that. And Florida's defense struggled to get pressure for a lot of this game. On this play, though, Florida is going to get home with the pressure, and Florida is playing cover 1 man, a defense that has been very, very solid for Florida, and everything here looks good. Kimber on the bottom of your screen has control of his route, in-breaking route, has complete control. Spencer Rattler just puts one up because there's really nowhere else to go. Spencer, nice throw here. Look, don't sleep on this throw, right? It's an inside breaking route. Spencer puts this ball back to the backside shoulder because Kimber has over-rotated on it, gives his receiver a chance to make this play, and then Kimber in this situation, unfortunately, hooks him and holds him. He doesn't need to here. This ball's probably going to be incomplete, but he does hook him and he does hold him. He gets too much contact. Here it is right here. He has complete control of this route. Now, if you're Kimber, what you don't want to do is you don't have any reason to overrun this to the interior. You just want to stay right where you are, right behind him, right where you are. And you can see here that we are not reacting to the ball. If we're Kimber, we're not going to react to the ball. It's going to break down. And here comes the ball. And unfortunately for us, we've maintained this little hold that we had right there. And now we come around the left side rather than to the right side, keeping a hold of the jersey the entire time, despite the fact that we have complete control of this route. And when he sits down, which this is the design, sit down, come out here, we lose it, and now we anchor ourselves here, and if we probably let go right here and attempt to make a play on this shoulder, we're probably okay. That motion there is going to kill you, and it does. So Florida takes a scenario where they could have gotten a stop, but a rightly called pass interference call gives South Carolina their first down on 3rd and 10, something that, again, Florida defends very well. Perhaps that's not a big deal, as we're going to find out. It's just one of many plays that Florida put out there that were not great. South Carolina with one of the worst rushing teams in all of college football, but it didn't look that way early on versus Florida. Just a simple zone run right here. We know that Florida struggles, obviously, with gap. We've seen them struggle with gap. Just a simple zone run. And what you're going to get here from Florida is a whole lot of garbage, right? And primarily, it's been hard to explain what's happened to Florida's linebackers at times on the road. Here's Shamar James, who's an excellent linebacker for Florida, a young linebacker, played really well this season. And I can't explain to you what actually is happening here. The running back has the ball. He sees he has the ball. And again, we need to fill this gap. This gap is unaccounted for, right? Pre-snap, how many gaps do you have? Ready? Here's your center. A, B, C, and then A, right here. Sorry, A, B, C. And then you have a tight end. So you have a D gap, right? So you have 7 gaps. You have 7 players. You got to fill all 7 gaps. Immediately, Jaden Hill goes to the D gap. That's correct. Princely steps inside pretty aggressively, right? And he can be, let's say, your B gap defender, which would leave Shamar to be your C gap defender. That's what this looks like, except Shamar seems to have no interest in being the C gap defender. In fact, he's going to watch this entire play. And what is that? A lot of people got onto Armstrong after this game, right? A lot of like, man, this guy's not him, or why are you saying he's a good defensive coordinator, or we suck on defense, or the typical fan reactions to things. Well, I said, let's look at the film and find out. Is it play design? Is it numbers in the box? Are we not exactly correct on this play? We are, right? We get a little shift here from Scooby with the motion, which we don't need. But again, we don't need, but I don't know what the blocking assignments are. But regardless, we're fine. Someone has got to fill this gap. I mean, what is this? I have no idea. What I know, though, is it's a big gain. It's a big, big gain for South Carolina with a team that can't run the ball. Right on the road, early on, when you get a big start from your offense, not a good look. Disappointing. Spencer Rattler had excellent numbers in this football game, but for many plays, actually, Florida had good coverage on the back end. But one thing that I thought was disappointing, coming into this game on the podcast, we talked a lot about how Spencer Rattler was very slippery. He was able to slide out of the pocket, and that it was hard to rush him. If you bring guys at him, 5 guys, 6 guys, oftentimes they excel. They run good route combinations. He's quick to make decisions. He's got an accurate arm. If you bring 3 or 4, you can actually do pretty well versus them. But one thing you have to do is you got to keep contain on him. And here you're going to see Sapp come flying up the field and then take himself right out of the play. Right? We want to get the quarterback off the spot, but Florida's not playing a spy here on Spencer Rattler. And therefore now we can't run with him. He's quick. He's deceptively quick. He's more athletic than you think. And 1st and 10 is a nice 8-yard gain. And then here's Jason Marshall again. Look, I think, Jason, if you want to play in the league, you got to start becoming more of a willing tackler. Like throwing your shoulder in like this and then getting Spencer Rattler to blow you up is not a great look. This is not a great look. This is not a great look for you. You can be better than that. I need you to become a more willing tackler if you want to play in the league. There's only so many Deion Sanders that can exist in the world. Other than that, you generally have to tackle. And that is a quarterback that's allowing you to have a free shot on him, and he says, you're soft, let's go, right? And that's just it's not what you want. I think as a defense, either on the road, you want to set the tone. You want to be hitting people. So early on, Florida's defense here, just, again, disappointing. 1st and 10, a simple zone scheme here from South Carolina that Florida stopped countless times versus teams that are better rushing teams, especially when they're playing at home. And not going to get it done here, despite the fact that we're perfect. Jaden Hill again, going to come out here, take the outside gap, set the edge, check, edge set. Now all we need to do is have our linebacker fill this gap. That's your job as a linebacker. That's what you're supposed to do, is fill the gap. And he gets there a little late and missed the tackle. There it is, missed the tackle. So for Shamar, it's the worst start to a game I've seen him have. Why is that happening? I don't know. I mean, Florida's got to find a way to stop doing this stuff. I mean, these are tackles in the hole that should be small gains. In fact, he should be there. He should be reading this play faster. He's not responsible for the back end here. Flow play side, get in the gap, make a tackle. We don't make it. And then there's Castell, a freshman. Again, he's not a great tackler yet. Tough spot, kind of rides the guy out of bounds. But first down becomes first down versus the worst rushing team in the SEC and one of the worst rushing teams in the entire country. 126th was their ranking coming into this game. There is Coach Austin Armstrong, Coach Ham, as I like to call him, who I think, despite even this game, at the end of this game, I think is going to be an excellent coordinator for Florida. I think has a very promising future, and I think is a budding star in the profession. But he's working with the defense, playing with 2 freshmen at times at safety, still very young linebackers, right? Sophomore linebackers for the most part, guys who have only played 2 years at most. Multiple new faces in the D-line. We're playing without a secondary pass rusher. There's issues, obviously, with Florida's defense, but generally speaking, they've been successful at a lot of the things that now twice in a row on the road with Kentucky and now South Carolina, basic things they're not being successful at. We've seen Florida routinely each game kind of miss some assignments in pass coverage. They've dodged some bullets. They're not going to dodge one here. 1st and goal. Now, obviously, this play is no longer a run. We now have to cover. We have to cover. Here's Castell. He sees it. Here's Shamar. He sees it. We have to cover. Shamar starts going back. Castell inexplicably is still looking here in the backfield, and he's going to stop. Who are you covering? One more time. There's one receiver here. Here we go. Who are you covering? Who are you covering right now? Who are you looking at? There's nobody there. Wide open. That's just disturbing to me. He was open from the start of the play. He's open right now. Look, play fake right here. If Spencer immediately looks at him, the touchdown. He's not. He's looking over here. Then he comes back around and he sees him, and he's still open. Frustrating. That's just frustrating. It's frustrating stuff when you get a good start from your offense and you go lay an egg like that to start the game. Next possession, first play. I don't have a problem with this. This is fine defense, right? Florida's all over this. I mean, this is just a shot by Spencer Rattler. It's why you give your guy a shot. And Kimber, this is locked up. There's nothing there. There's only 2 guys going out. And here's the other one. He's locked up, except if you're Kimber, and you can't see this on your screen, I'll rewind, right? He's playing right here, outside leverage, to keep him to the inside, which is what he's doing. He's walling off the outside. He's going to run this route that looks like this, and Kimber is on the inside, or the outside rather, the entire time. He has complete control of this route. Now, the thing is, there comes a time when you've got to turn and play the ball, and if you're on this, if we're walling off, right, if we're walling off the outside, so we're going to make sure we funnel any help here to the inside. That means that when the ball or the receiver starts taking a route that comes towards the sideline, we need to then rotate our head as though we are the receiver so we can also see the ball. If we turn around this way, which is what happens if we turn around facing this way and the receiver turns around facing this way, we're going to have issues. And those issues are going to be, we are going to go past, right, the point of attack because he is going to have control of us and he's going to stop first. Instead, if we pretend we're the receiver and we open up this way as well, we are going to stay underneath this and to the inside, and we can make a play, perhaps a pick. Either way, this is a 50-50 ball. It's a nice jump ball and a nice catch. And Kimber's in perfect position here. That's frustrating because he's in excellent position. He's got that play covered. He just needs to rotate his head around to make a play on the ball in this same direction, and that is going to be a different result. So, bummer. Big play by South Carolina. Nice catch on a 50-50. Play design scheme, everything there is actually perfect for the route they ran. We're all over that, but they convert anyway. This game was not a noon game, but it certainly looked like it. Again, here's Scooby. Simple confusion here. We're going to lose who is covering who, right? Jaden Hill, who's been excellent, by the way, for Florida. I mean, Jaden Hill has been solid on film pretty consistently, doing his job, always in the right place, almost never being called out for doing anything that's not right. But look, linebacking is hard, right? There's a lot of confusing stuff going on here with motions. Spencer Rattler and South Carolina's offense, although the O-line is a problem and their running game is not good, their passing game is solid, right? They have had a lot of success versus a lot of teams, including Georgia. They move the ball despite their limitations, and they're tricky. But right here, this is an obvious ID. Scooby misses it, and now he's going to turn all the way around. This is going to be just, I mean, look at this. I mean, that's a layup. 1st and 10, layup right there on the hitch route, and get the tackle at least. But, that's 8 or 9 yards for free just because we're not IDing our responsibilities pre-snap and post-snap. We're getting confused early on here, and South Carolina, of course, is taking advantage of it. Florida's generally been an excellent wide receiver screen team, and one major reason why is the play, of course, of Jaden Hill. Look how quickly he reads this. He knows he's going to be the defender here to stop the screen. He's going to get outside the blocker, which is important, funnel everything back into his help. Beat the blocker right there, step right through Leggett, the supremely talented 5-star receiver, been there for a while now at South Carolina. Blow right through his block, stay to the outside of him, funneling him to the inside, check, 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 wrap up, make a tackle. I mean, Jaden Hill, let's go, man. That's what great defense looks like, but you need all 11 guys doing it. Now, you can see Jaden Hill, a guy committed to his craft, was a corner, playing the nickel or the star, is getting it done. He is taking what is being taught, and he's executing it consistently, game in and game out, and he's shining on film for that. It's a guy who's doing his job. Nice stuff there on that screenplay. 2nd and 7, Florida again going to have issues with run fit, right? Why is this happening? A gap. Here we go again. Let's play the game. A gap, B gap, C gap, A gap, B gap, C gap, and then the edge. It's called the D gap. So, what is going to go wrong here? How many guys does Florida have in the box? You got to have, you got to have enough guys to get the gaps, right? You need 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 guys to control for this. So let's watch the snap. How many does Florida have? 7. Here's your 7. They're good. We're good. We're counting for all the gaps. That's step 1. Let's make sure we have that right. But then we got issues, because what happens over here, right, is you have a freshman who's been an excellent pass rusher and good player here in TJ Searcy. We need to strike the block coming at us, right? We need to blow this up and squeeze this in. And let's assume, we don't know, let's assume he's the C-gap defender. So one more time. We had a C-gap, we had a D-gap. He's the C-gap defender. He needs to own this C-gap and strike this block so the linebacker here, Scooby, can get over here. Instead, we're going to wait and get kicked out. That's what the offense wants to do. You do not want to do what the offense wants to do, so they kick you out. But look, this stuff is partially understandable. He's a freshman. It's going to happen, right? The game's moving fast for him. This stuff's going to happen. If you get upset about it as a fan, I mean, he's a freshman. He's playing high school football last year. That's how it goes. More importantly here, we get Scooby at linebacker. He's not going to get off this block, and now we're dead. We've gotten creased, and then there we go. Touchdown, right? The worst rushing team basically in college football right there creases us. Now they do have a nice play call on, because we're going to A gap run blitz right here with Shamar. We're also bringing a nickel blitz here to this side, and they're going to get us right here very nicely. But again, if you strike this and blow this up here, Scooby should be able to get out to the edge. But either way, they catch us. We don't get it. It looks bad. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. And this defense that I really thought, you heard me say it on film last week, a lot of the issues we saw versus Kentucky probably were not going to show up in the same manner again. It's a little different, but it's still showing up. Run fit. All of a sudden, run fit. A team that's top 5 in success rate with stopping the run can't get basic run fit. It's really hard to explain. It really is. And it's also frustrating. 14-13 South Carolina after a first down. It's 2nd down and 9. Shamar James going to make a nice play on this one. They're going to do a play fake. Sapp gets free here early on. And they're running a screen, right? That's intentional. Set up the screen, get them out of the play. And now we're blocked up here. We got to get a block here. This looks pretty promising for South Carolina, actually. They have those 2 blocks off the screen I mentioned. They've got one here and a free runner here. This could be big, but Shamar has got to get off a block, and he does. Gets off 1 block. Now he's coming here to help out. And because Shamar gets off that block, makes a shoestring tackle right there. Good pursuit to the ball. Good close on 2nd down and 9, setting up a 3rd down. Maybe Florida's waking up and turning a corner here. Here comes the first 3rd down stop for Florida. It's a freebie, but hey, we'll take it. Bad snap. Fall on it. Stop. Right, there you go. So Florida up 14-13, Florida down 13-14, but getting the ball back thanks to a gift from South Carolina on 3rd and 6. Heading into this game on the podcast, we had talked about needing to make sure that Florida bracketed Leggett as much as possible, because he out-targeted almost all of the other wide receivers combined. A major feature guy. Florida did not seem to pay him special attention early on, and they paid the price. So because South Carolina lines up in the stack set here, Florida is going to east-west this. There's multiple concepts you can use with coverage behind it to do this. But they're essentially going to have Jaden Hill take the first receiver that comes in, and Kimber is going to take the first receiver that goes out, and they will play man from there. South Carolina knows this, and they're lining up in this formation to get Leggett on Jaden Hill in man. Now, Jaden Hill used to be a corner, but you don't want your nickel in general, right, defending the best receiver on the other team, but that is exactly what they're going to get. Here he comes. Going to run a simple over route here. Safety's going to back out for Florida, leaving Jaden Hill totally by himself one-on-one. Good play designed by South Carolina. Disappointingly, Florida does not get any pressure on Spencer Rattler. Also heading into this game, we talked about how teams were getting pressure with 3, 4, 5, or whatever. They were frequently kind of instantly in the backfield. Didn't see a lot of that from Florida. Perhaps that's because South Carolina fixed some of their issues or because Florida just could not generate pressure. But with that time, Spencer makes the Gators pay. There is an open Leggett. I don't blame Jaden Hill for this. This is a scheme issue. If you're Florida, I think coming into this game, you do not want to allow Leggett to match up on Jaden Hill. It's not ideal for you, especially not without a safety help to bracket it. Here we go. We're off to the races. Jaden Hill tries to push him out. Leggett toe tips the line. Does not get, of course, as all of you know, as far as he wanted to get, but it is a big play on first down for South Carolina and a good scheme that's going to show up more in this game. South Carolina definitely took advantage of some of the rules that Coach Ham in Florida uses, and they got themselves into good looks. Look, this happens in every single game. If a team knows that in certain formations and certain motions you handle stack sets or trip sets or 2x2s or 3x1s or whatever in certain ways, good coordinators are going to scheme up ways to take advantage of your rules, as we've talked about throughout this season on the offensive film breakdown, by putting you in spots you don't want to be in. That's half the fun of football, is trying to avoid those spots, counter them, give them something different so that, if I know what you know and you know what I know, I'm staying one level ahead of you. But here, South Carolina stays one level ahead of Florida and gets a big play. All right, 3rd and 6. Perhaps Florida's going to get 2 stops in a row here. Of course, they're already on the plus side of territory here for South Carolina, but perhaps they're going to have to field again. Leggett in motion. What does Florida come up with here? Essentially, everything that's going to be right. This play is completely covered. Going to run a nice little stunt here. And we're going to collapse the pocket. Everything looks good. We've talked again frequently on this film review about making sure that you maintain your pocket discipline as a rusher. Don't go hero mode. Stay in your lane. That way, if Spencer tries to escape, you're okay. Florida's not playing a spy, as we've seen Florida play versus more mobile quarterbacks. I think Florida would have been wise to use a spy occasionally. I was surprised they didn't do that. Given on film, Spencer has evaded every single team on his schedule this year in ways you're going to see right now. On top of that, Banks is going to take a scenario that's great for Florida. Look, this is why you stay in your lanes, right? There's nowhere for Spencer to go here if Banks does not come around and try to do something he doesn't need to do. These guys have it handled. Just stay home on the edge. But he comes around thinking, I'm going to help. I'm going to over pursue. And now there's Spencer out the backside pulling his magician-like stuff. And now we're blocked up again, which we didn't need to be. You could have waited right here and gotten him. You got to be 4 working as 1, and you're not. And 3rd and 6, which was not going to be a conversion. The play was covered. Winds up being a conversion for a first down. That one's on the D-line. You've got to stay disciplined there. 4 working as 1. Not each man for himself. 1st and 10, it was not all bad for Florida's defense, despite it being a very bad day overall. Great ending, as we're going to see to this game. 2 big stops when we needed them, so there's definitely something there to hang your hat on as you're battling all day long, and they get stops when they need them there at the end. But not every play was bad. Of course, I'm showing you a lot of the ones that we struggled with because that's how teams learn. The ones we already do well, we've seen them do well on. But here, I want to highlight a guy who's been struggling, I think, to tackle in some regards. We've been talking about him in general, and that's Kimber. And I like this play here. He's on the corner blitz. Florida struggled when they were running these for run fit. Look, corner blitz on a run fit is an excellent play call. That's when you want to call a corner blitz. You want to get the run fit here with an unblocked man. You want to come downhill. You want to break down. You want to wrap up and make a tackle. Look, you don't need to make a highlight tackle. You don't need to lay the wood. You want to wrap up, make a tackle. Break down, perfect position. We're across here, the line of scrimmage. We're on their side. Stay home, stay low, wrap up, make a tackle. And that's great. It doesn't need to be a hit stick tackle, right? Just wrap up, make the tackle, trust where the coaches put you, and this is going to wind up being a slight loss or right back to the line of scrimmage. So I want to highlight there Kimber being a willing tackler on this play, coming into run fit, wrapping up, getting involved. You know, you love to see him get a little stronger, a little tougher, try to lay the wood a little more here when he wraps up. But I'm taking this, wrap up with the big boys come in and lay some punishment, right? And then get a stop. So good play design, good play call, good execution right there. And Florida gets a stop as you would have expected them to get all day long versus the running game, but they get one here. 2nd and 10, Shamar James to Rajda Mitchell from Ohio State. And I have no idea who's at fault for what here because this play just looks bad all the way around. Basically, the running back into a simple flat route. Florida generally accounts for that really well. Well, no one's going to account for that. Secondarily, Shamar James is coming very late into this area. And so I want to give you 2 examples here. Let's imagine that Rajda is supposed to be down here on the flat. Well, if Shamar James just comes in here and ignores the tight end on this side, and there's nobody here, right? There's nobody here. This is a safety here on this side. Florida most likely playing 3-on-2 on this side with the split safety. No guarantee safety here. Most likely playing 3-on-2 should be accounting for the fact that they have 2 receivers here. And they can be playing 3-on-2 here, which is what you'd expect, your 3-on-2 situation here. And then again, you'd expect your hook defender here to be Shamar. And he could be free to blitz, could be free to do whatever. But obviously we got issues if we're going to back way up here, and you're Miguel Mitchell, and we're going to back up here, and we're going to have this, and then we're going to have this. How do you defend that if he's coming down here and he's not the hook? Again, he can be the hook here. He can cover this here. He can come here. I mean, it's 100 things that can happen. I don't know what the deal is, but what I know is that's not good because if he comes here, he's wide open. He's making no move to get over here, so he'll be wide open. And if he doesn't come over here, right, then he's wide open because he's run off and you don't have Kimber staying down here, and maybe Kimber's supposed to stay down here and he's supposed to pass that off. And either way, you're still going to have one of these guys open. So this play is busted from 100 ways. There goes Rajda late, doesn't even touch him. Then we get hurdled there. And Miguel Mitchell, again, young guy for Florida playing. And then Mitchell tries to make a tackle there at the end. Mitchell and Mitchell can't get a stop. And again, all of a sudden, it's like South Carolina is like the world's greatest, most creative running back team in the country, just shredding Florida to bits here in the second quarter, putting their 21st point on the board after the extra point, and we are tied in a good old-fashioned shootout. So Coach Ham here obviously very disappointed with his unit at this point in time. A lot of football game left, but not good stuff here on film. 3rd and 7, there is a look at Coach Ham not having a great day. And then Florida confused here pre-snap on 3rd and 7. Take a look at Scooby. He's like, hey man, what the heck are you doing? Where are we going? What's happening? I don't know. A lot of discussion here. Hey man, what's going on? Yep, okay, move over there. Oh, ball's being snapped, by the way. We motion over here. Why are we in the stack now? Because we know that Florida's going to go inside outside, which is exactly what happens. We're going to get a route here and a route here. And Jaden Hill is going to be on this inside breaking route. Florida's going to be late here to bring what they want to bring, but it's all going to work out. Florida actually has very, very good coverage here across the board. There is nowhere to go, but most importantly, Princely, who's been flying and really popping on every film this season, pops again. Speed rush around the edge, gets home to Spencer Rattler, latches on, and brings him down. So Florida gets a sack on 3rd down and 7. Very important moment to get that sack, and obviously a big stop for Florida in a game that is 21-21, and an extra big stop because look at the time here. This is a 2-for-none situation. If South Carolina could have successfully driven down the field and scored with little time left, let's say they get a touchdown, they're going to have 28. Then they get the ball down at half, and if they drive down and score at half, then it's 35-21, and Florida doesn't even touch the ball. A significant game-changing moment. So Florida's defense getting off the field here was humongous. This is a massive stop. Florida's play at the end of the half and at the end of the game obviously led to them getting a W. Not a good day at the office, but this moment was big in the game. Second half now, Florida comes out with a lead. You got to believe they talked about adjustments. They wanted to make sure they got stuff right coming out of the break. And right away on 1st and 10, South Carolina wants to take a shot. Play action. Let's take advantage of the fact we've been running well. Perhaps Florida's going to overcorrect. Florida's ready for this. Jason Marshall stays on top of this route by Leggett, which winds up being a comeback. You can tell that Spencer right away Play action opens up and IDs it very quickly and sees, yep, he's on top of that one. That's not going to be there. Then snaps his head around to his next read. And now, doesn't like that either because it's covered up, climbs the pocket very nicely. And at this point in time, he should be dead. Florida's going to make yet another mistake in the linebacking core. Here's Shamar James. Here's Terajda Mitchell. And look, Terajda does this right. That's his gap. This is Shamar's gap. Shamar is leaning on the inside. Look, all 11 have to work as one. The guys in the front 7, all 7 have to work as one. If you're 6, all 6 have to work as one. If you're 4, all 4 have to work as one. Do your job. The famous Will Muschamp moment, punch the whiteboard. Do your job, do your job, do your job. Your job is out here. We've seen Florida do this well. It's just really remarkable that all of a sudden this disappears. The comfort here for Florida is the amount of youth that you have on the field, right? That's the comfort, right? Young guy, freshman, sophomore. This is a guy who's older, right? That's an Ohio State products transfer. He's an older guy. He should be fine. He does do the right thing here. Shamar does not. And instead of having a sack on Spencer Rattler and a loss of 8 or 9 yards, he gets away, throws the ball away. These are big moments in games. When you're playing a good quarterback, you can't miss opportunities like that. And Florida misses one here despite really good downfield coverage. 2nd and 10, true freshman here, Bryce Thornton, who we saw a lot on last week's film review, got mixed playing time in this game. I like what I see here from him, and I'll tell you why as we see some different stuff in a second. He's in run fit off the edge here. Princely's going to take an inside lane. He's not going to control the edge. Now, look, it's very possible this is an exchange. Things I can't say for sure, right? It's possible that we want to have Princely come in and spill this to the outside, which means you're exchanging with your safety. That's one of the benefits of playing split safety is you can do creative things in the run game as well as be helpful in the passing game. So let's say that is the case. I'm going to guess that's the case because that's Princely doing that. He typically holds the edge really well if not. And now we do successfully spill this play. Your safety's coming down and run fit. Here's the line of scrimmage. You want him to get there quickly and then break down. And there's a breakdown, then make a tackle coming downhill. Goes for it. A little bit of a shoestring tackle. Kind of misses the tackle there. But you know what? He's in the hole. He slows the running back up. The rest of his boys come in and get a stop after a 2-yard gain. I like that. Quick recognition. Good commitment to doing your job there if you're Bryce. That's going to wind up being a good play for Florida on 2nd down. It's going to bring up 3rd down. 3rd and 8, South Carolina again is going to get Florida in the wrong personnel matchup. Let's watch Jaden Hill here. He is moving over to guard what is now the number 1 receiver, number 1 being the further outermost receiver here. This is Jason Marshall. You can see that Hill is not looking at Leggett, who is here in the slot. He is looking at Marshall, kind of puts his arms up, thinking Marshall is supposed to be following Leggett in this situation, no matter where he lines up. Hill feels like that's his matchup here. I can't tell you which one is which. All I know is Marshall's not moving. So Marshall thinks, hey, look, I'm guarding whoever the number 1 receiver is out here. That's how we're doing it. And now Hill's got to come in motion and cover Leggett, which now Spencer Rattler knows I have exactly what I want, which is Leggett matched up on Jaden Hill. I've got my number 1 receiver matched up on the number 3 defender for Florida. That's not what you want to be doing as a defense, not a recipe for success. Now maybe we're going to bracket him. Here's Castell down low, right? Maybe we're going to bracket him. Maybe that's what we want to do. Except right away, what's interesting is Jaden Hill is not bracketing with him. If he's bracketing to Castell, he wants to flip around the other way and wall off the outside to force him to the inside where he has help. But he looks like he's opening up to wall him off to the outside, which is exactly, you can see, what he's doing. He's playing the outside here. So we're not going to be bracketing him in this case. He, however, does expect to have help to the inside. Leggett's then going to run a comeback route or a hitch route here. And there it is. He has no help. You can see there is no help. He doesn't have any help. And he's going to wind up getting beat on this hitch. So even though he's right there, if you want to see what happened to Castell, right, he's going to wind up being responsible here on this side as we move over 1. This is going to wind up being number 2 and now number 3. So he's going to take number 3 because of the switch over. Anything vertical, anywhere he goes, he's going to take him. Jaden Hill is now locked up here on him. And now we're manned up here on the edge, right? And this is what we have for our defense. Unfortunately for Florida, again, that's not the matchup Florida wants to have. They don't want to have their nickel here, single high safety. We're playing man defense across the board. Matched up here. It's a win for South Carolina, even though Jaden Hill's right here, does an admirable job. He's playing one-on-one, loses that battle, and that's 2 for 2 on 3rd downs when they have Jaden Hill matched up there. or one's on a first down, sorry, and that was a third down. But two chunk yard plays here where South Carolina successfully gets their number 1 versus Florida's number 3, and now we're in the second half. 1st and 15 for South Carolina, and look, Florida did some interesting stuff on film in this game. I think most of what I've seen from Coach Ham has been excellent as far as scheme goes. I think I love it. I love a lot of it. I think it really makes a lot of sense. We're aggressive. We play sound. I thought for sure entering into this game that we would definitely double jersey or occasionally bracket Leggett in certain situations, and that we would rarely allow ourselves to play man over the entire field versus him because he, again, doubly targeted over anyone else on South Carolina. He's their best receiver, and even as good as Florida's corners are, I don't know why you want to just play him one-on-one when you have much easier tasks elsewhere. So Florida's going to deploy a safety blitz here, and we're going to play cover 1 man, except we're actually going to wind up bracketing. This is Jason Marshall. This is Florida's number 1 corner. He's not on Leggett. Here's Leggett. And here is Castell, who's essentially, take a look here, bracketing him. So we're content to let Leggett go one-on-one with the entire field and no safety versus Kimber. And unfortunately, Kimber, take a look right here, Kimber's not quite ready yet. Kimber does not even get his mouth guard in. Ball snapped. I'm in the play now, right? So we're not ready. Safety blitz. We're walling off over here. We're letting him go one-on-one. And Spencer Rattler's like, easy money. That's the safety over there. You got to be kidding me. Like, you're literally telling me you're walling that guy off, and now I get to throw here to this guy. That safety blitz is not even close to getting home, but McClellan almost saves the day. And this is something that's doomed South Carolina. We said on the podcast that coming into this game, South Carolina put a lot of great stuff on film with the routes that they run, how they run them, how they get their matchups, what you're seeing them do to Florida right now. But this is always their problem, is they'd always have a guy running free and blowing up the play and ruining it. Well, here's McClellan basically ruining this play, and Rattler makes a hero throw. He's fading way back, lobs one up, still gets it 45, 50 yards down the field. I mean, that's unbelievable. And Leggett makes a play on this ball for a big game. But one more time, look, you got to give Rattler his due, whether you like the guy or not. I mean, this is an outrageous throw. He's off his back foot. He's leaning back. He opens up, knows he's going to take a hit. He's on his own 35-yard line. He throws this ball in the air with velocity down to the 10. That's an incredible play. But again, all of that starts with South Carolina getting a matchup that they want, with Florida not doubling it. That's a curious design to me. I'm not sure if Florida really thought they could just cover Leggett one-on-one. They had enough hubris to say we're not going to worry about that. I don't know. I don't love the answers to those questions. 3rd and goal now. As this game wears on, it becomes imperative that you just start rooting for field goals, right? You're watching the game live and you're thinking, just stop them for field goals. It's going to loom large in the game, and that is true. That is what largely loomed large in this game, and here is a field goal stop from Florida. Really nice stuff. We're going to zone all this off. They're going to run all their routes onto this side, and Florida's got that junk owned. There's nowhere to go. This play is completely dead on arrival. Spencer knows it. He's buying time now, and this time, take a look. Kelby Collins, super freshman for Florida, really excellent player, is going to stay in his gap. This is good stuff. Push here. Don't run up over here, right? Stay in his gap. Now watch, come back here. This is big. That's a big moment in this play. And now he's able to basically force Spencer to our other players who are also waiting in the gap there, and he cannot escape. Now let's imagine for a second that what we saw earlier happened. We fly up here like we saw Sapp do. He keeps going. We go up here. Now he comes down and through and out this lane here. Perhaps he comes over here, buys time, makes a throw. None of those things happen because we do our job right there, right? Good push here to get him off the spot. Now we got to make sure we seal him up in here, which we do. He tries to correctly go out this way, hits his own players. That play dies. So big time stuff from Florida's defense there. A lot of bad plays, a lot of issues, a lot of good matchups, South Carolina. But on 3rd and goal, we do get a stop and we hope to a field goal, which is certainly much better than a touchdown. It's a small victory, but one that will loom large in the end. 3rd and 11, South Carolina runs a pre-snap motion, knows Florida's in zone, but how Florida executes this zone is an absolute win versus South Carolina, kind of going with like a muddy or mush huddle here, not knowing who's coming where, trying to confuse this offensive line for South Carolina. It certainly played much better than what the film had showed before. But Florida wins with how they cover these routes, right? This is good stuff. I want to show you Princely, a guy Florida's been using all over the place. Watch how well he does this. He's going to read this correctly. Who are your eligible receivers? You got eligible here, here, and here. So you have 3 here, and you have 1 and 2 here, right? You got to know your role, know your responsibility. As he's dropping, he's reading the quarterback, reading the running back, opens up, and then take a look at what's happening with your number 2 and your number 1. If he's coming across, you have to be watching that. He comes across, look at him, watch him, sit in this lane, sit right here, take that away, wall this off, watch Shamar. Shamar comes over, put your hands on, reroute here to the safety, check, that's really good right there. And then we're going to drop back here into these windows for any verticals. Sit underneath this, sit over top of this, sit in the middle for any post route that might come in here, underneath this, over top of this. And now we are in absolutely excellent shape. ID this coming out of the backfield here. This play is dead as well. And now let's see what happens. You got Kimber who's coming in off the edge here. He needs to stop right there. He does not. Mistake here by Kimber. Rushing mistake. Do not over pursue. We saw this earlier. He over pursues. Now we have an escape lane, which is what Spencer wants to buy time, as all quarterbacks do. Good chase angle here. Right? Chase him down here, Wingo. And now Shamar James. Let's make a tackle on a quarterback who's trapped to the inside here. And Shamar gets flat-footed and really, gets shook by Spencer there. Spencer beats him and almost gets a first down because of it. So for Shamar James, I think thus far this is the worst game he's put on film as a Gator. Just didn't have a lot of great stuff in this game. And there's an example of it right there. Just didn't seem to have it in this game. And it certainly affected Florida's defense. Florida does get the stop here just barely on this 3rd down and 11 call. 3rd and 6 from South Carolina. Another nice matchup call by South Carolina. This is good offense, taking advantage of, again, a freshman safety here. Here's Kimber. They start out here in a little stack formation. They're talking about it. They're going to east-west this, right? And then we're going to move over here. Okay, now we're not going to east-west this, but the whole scenario is, and this is what I want to show you, twins on this side, twins on this side. Right, let's look at who's correct and who's incorrect. This side is correct, and this side is incorrect. Now, why is that the case? One, aside from the fact that Florida looks to be playing 3-on-2 over here and probably 2-on-2 over here, what's most important about this is the depth. Notice the depth that Jaden Hill has right here, and notice the depth that Bryce Thornton has here. He's about 2 yards behind him. Now, you might not think that matters, but on 3rd down and 6, that matters a lot. Here's your first down line. Jaden Hill, older, more experienced, lines up inside the first down line. Thornton here. Let's put this play out, and I'll show you why this matters. Focus now on the top of the screen. Jaden Hill is going to run with a vertical route. All right, those routes don't matter. The ball's not going there. So fine. Now, bottom screen, we can imagine if Bryce starts where Jaden Hill is, this play will be different. But a nice rub route, complementary routes, inside release from Leggett. All he's doing here is creating a wake for this to happen. And there it is, well-timed. Notice how well-timed this is for South Carolina. His route's not to beat him. It's to make sure he tucks right underneath, right here, tuck right underneath this. And then let's watch Bryce's technique here on the snap. He's moving backwards a little bit. That's a no-no. Not yet. If they're going to win quick game on you, you want to stay right where you are so you can come downhill. He's vacating backwards some. Let's watch Jaden Hill instead. Same motion of the tape. Jaden Hill has moved about half a yard backwards. He's still underneath the first down line. We have now given up more space, and now this space is too much space. Notice where Jaden Hill is in relation. If we're right here in relation, we're there. We are not, and because of that, this run is going to be too far, and that's going to be a first down. So he'll clean this stuff up. He's a freshman. Those are little details, right? On the field, you don't have me drawing a little line right here telling you where you are. You're quickly communicating what happened. They're in stack. Now they're in this. Now I'm manning this guy. This stuff's happening very fast. Again, it's why teams motion the way they motion. It's also why it's hard to play a true freshman back there. He was playing high school football last year. Now he's got to go deal with this. And he's right there, right? He's right there. It's a first down, but he's there. He'll clean this stuff up. He'll get better. He'll start being more detail-oriented. Stuff will become more second nature, and those plays eventually will not be first downs. But either way, right here, South Carolina, good design, take advantage of freshman safety, and convert for a first down. 2nd and 11, another example of where Florida electing to never play a spy on Spencer Rattler makes them pay. Again, they've done this before on quarterbacks who are mobile. And look, teams that play Spencer in the future, the guy is mobile. He's slippery in the pocket. it's worth occasionally employing one to deter him from doing what he wants to do. Right here he opens up. What he wants to do is hit this go route up the sideline. Florida is splitting the difference here with a safety. I think he probably takes a shot here if he doesn't get pressure. He does have a window. He's got the arm to make it. Could have been a chunk play. Florida's covering it correctly with the zone coverage they're in, but I think he's got the arm to make it. He wants to make it right here. You're going to see it. He wants to hit it right here. He sees there's a window. He's about to load up for it. Doesn't love it because, again, Florida's playing it well. Decides not to take it. McClellan, big Chris McClellan, 7's right on him. Does he get rerouted around with hands still on him? Yeah, kind of looks like he does, right? I mean, to me, what do you think that is? That's probably holding. Either way, the problem here for Florida is Princely correctly recognizes, I don't want to overrun this. I need to get back. The problem is no one else here is in this gap anymore, right? So now we've gotten, here you go, you got Mitchell coming in. Here's a linebacker, undersized guy facing a lineman. It's a double team of a lineman. He's going to get routed out of the play. That's going to happen. Spencer's escaping up the middle. And this is where typically of a linebacker who's here waiting to spy him, taking him out. But there isn't anyone there. Look, Spencer is quick. There's Sapp, who we dropped off. It's a defensive lineman, not a linebacker. He's quick, but he can't get there. And rather rattles off a huge gain. Again, he really hurt Florida with his legs. And he's hurt all teams this season doing it. It's not just Florida. Perhaps why it was surprising Florida didn't even attempt really to spy him up until this point in the game. Now we're almost in the fourth quarter. 1st and 10, simple inside zone run play that Florida has largely defeated all year long. And just, we win right here. Win from Princely. We're winning at the line of scrimmage. Win right here. Everything looks good. And now we need our linebackers to make a play. There's only one guy. There's two of us. Already we're kind of lackadaisical here with this fill, right? And then Mitchell is going to come to the inside, and now we're not here. There's Shamar on the backside of the play. And again, like what is happening here? Like Shamar should already be in here filling, but Mitchell needs to be filling this side. So we kind of get two guys next to each other, and disappointing. McClellan tries to get a hand on him. There's Taraja trying to get a hand on him, and then here comes a tackle right here from our freshman, Bryce Thornton. He misses. And there's Shamar making the tackle later after, again, another big gain, right? And look, this is where you're going to need your safeties, of course, to make tackles down the road. Like Florida safeties can't keep missing tackles like this all the time, but it's hard to come in as a freshman, make those tackles. Like that's not something you're going to do right away. That's something you're going to learn later. And there's very few freshman safeties that are going to come downhill and start tackling people. I mean, in high school, you rarely do that. If you're a pass coverage safety, and a lot of Florida safeties, this is a lot for them, right? It's a lot. So I'm not making excuses for them other than to say it's hard to expect your freshmen to come downhill and always make tackles. They need to. It's how the defense needs to play. They need to get exposure to it. But you do want your linebackers to fill the gaps more appropriately here and run fit. And again, Florida does not get this done correctly here. And that leads to, a first down run leading to a first down. Not ideal. Florida now consistently putting South Carolina in 3rd and long. So for this game, second half got a little interesting. Again, South Carolina is moving and scoring. 3 for 7 on 3rd down. Florida with lots of opportunities to stop South Carolina. South Carolina converting. Now we're going to discuss some discussion here of what we want to do. Right here's Leggett again. Notice Jaden Hill and Leggett saying, look, man, I'm kind of getting tired of covering this guy one-on-one every single time. And now we're kind of creating a bracket. Although a temporary one, we are bracketing this off. Originally, he's going to stay here and then buzz to the flat. We're dropping back here, and now we're going to wall him off to the safety, right? So now we've basically created a 2-on-1 here. We fixed the problem that we had before, but we are playing straight man here. So on this side, we're manned up here, right? And we're locked up here. Okay, so this is what split safety coverage lets you do. We can play zone on this half of the field and man up on this side of the field. We've adjusted for the Leggett situation. South Carolina tried to do the same thing they've done before, motion him across, change Florida's rules, and now we know, hey, look, we got to stop that stuff. We can't let them have the matchup they want. Let's give them something different. And this is good offense by South Carolina. They say, no worries, we figured you're going to do that. We like this matchup versus Shamar James, and he's going to put Shamar James in an absolute body bag right here. Wait for it, and throw him off. Is that pass interference? Officials looking over here, not there. Pretty sweet shove. I can't say that Shamar James gets faked by his route right here. Pretty sweet shove, but he is wide open. And then there you go. 3rd and 11 becomes a significant gain. Does he get shoved? Yeah, he gets shoved. But you know what? Shamar, you can hit this dude as hard as you want. Right? In college football, there's no 5-yard rule. You can murder that guy. So when you put your hands on him here, hit him, chuck him, launch him. Take control of this on top of the route. Take control. Instead, that happens. Nice design, nice play, clear the field out, and that's for him all the way, right? That's the play they're running. They get what they want. Big conversion on 3rd and 11. Tough play. That's a tough cover there for Shamar, a guy who covers well. And again, he did get extended with his arm. But if you're Shamar next time, I think we see this on film, you might see more contact out of Shamar at that part of the route to prevent that scenario from happening. South Carolina with a great drive all the way down the field, lots of key conversions. And now they're going to get Florida making another mistake here again, as this is Jason Marshall coming across, and this is Kimber. And notice how Florida is confused with how they're going to handle this pre-snap motion. Kimber says, hey, wait, stay over here, stay. And Marshall's like, nah, bro, I'm coming. And then Kimber's like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to go over here. And the reason this play is so easy is Florida doesn't have a corner there. So if you're looking at Castell thinking, what the heck is he doing? Come down here and get 0. And look at Kimber. He's like, hey, man, what's up, bro? I'm out of the play. And Castell's like, I mean, that's not my job, and it's not his job, and it's a walk-in touchdown. So again, you watch this play live, you thought this is Castell's fault. Why is he covering no one? Well, because Castell essentially is responsible for a route that comes over here, not for a route in front, because he's supposed to have a corner there, but we have a player that's not playing right down this play because we mess up what's supposed to happen. Now, I can't tell you whether Marshall's supposed to stay there. Kimber certainly thinks he's supposed to stay there. Marshall certainly thinks he's supposed to come over here. Who's right? I don't know. What I know is the team, all 11 guys as a unit, are wrong because it's not right. And you can't keep having this stuff happen. Obviously, Florida's got to clean this stuff up, especially among their more veteran players. These are 2 guys who have played a lot. You don't want to see that. It's one thing when your freshman safeties do it or even your more inexperienced linebackers do it, but that's not ideal. And so that leads to a walk-in touchdown for South Carolina, and they take the lead. A very crucial 3rd and 2 with South Carolina trying to keep the sticks moving up 4. Florida has a right concept here, bringing an A-gap blitz from Shamar. We're going to pick up this route here from Mitchell. We're going to slide over to the flat with Jaden Hill. We're going to slide back with Marshall here. And then you're going to see Castell drop down in the box and ID an interior breaking route from the number 2 receiver right there. Right? So we've got any under route going here. He's responsible for the number 3. Number 2 here. He's going out to the flat on 1. He's going to drop back and they're going to wall off 1. Right? That's what's going to happen right there. And there you go. There's your play. This is looking good. Spencer knows his route combo is running him into here. Now look, if you're in the league, obviously he has a choice to just sit right there. In college football, you don't often get that choice. That is Leggett, their best receiver, and he would just know, hey, this guy's playing zone on me. I'm going to sit right here. I've got a window. Hit me. He doesn't have that. Watch where he goes. He just keeps on running. So again, difference between NFL and college oftentimes are these kind of routes right here. He also reads the defense and says, yeah, give this ball to me. I'm good. And the quarterback knows, same page, whatever. All right, they're not. So we're fine. Now Castell identifies the 2. Here he is. Looks back at the quarterback and now loses control of the route, right? And this is often what you'll see from young safeties playing major college football. In high school, he's good enough to just watch the quarterback's eyes. He kind of ID'd the receiver one time, and I'm going to make a play. Except Rattler moves him with his eyes to create a window over here. And that's high-level quarterbacking. Castell is not just sliding over to the left because he feels like it. He's getting moved there without Spencer Rattler keeps his eyes on this line to create this window. That's something Castell will learn more as he plays. Right? That's just a big league play. It's a great play by Spencer Rattler. The guy's a great quarterback. The best quarterback Florida's faced by far this season. It's a really good play. When you're playing defense, it's okay if you give up plays like this sometimes. That's fine. It's a lot of the other plays Florida give up that's frustrating. But look, sometimes that's going to happen. You don't get pressure on a quarterback of Spencer Rattler's caliber, and Florida just squeezes through at the end here. Close with Shamar right there. If he glues over for a half a second longer, probably a sack. Instead, ball right in the face mask. Conversion for South Carolina. 2nd and 5 for South Carolina. This is a great play design, especially given Florida's issues with gap run schemes. They're going to fake This guard tight end counterplay here, and Florida looks aggressive against the run to come in. Watch this. We're coming in aggressively here to strike this play, except it is not. It is a play action screen, the perfect call for what Florida has just run. Absolute perfect call. There it is. Release him out here. Watch this. Sneak across the formation. This is a really nice design. This is your tight end. Tight end screen. We've seen this a lot in the NFL, by the way. This is an excellent concept. This is not just a college play. This is a very well-designed play. Very hard to stop. Excellent, excellent play design. He rotates out. You get your block here. That's your pulling guard who comes across. He's going to kick out here, giving your tight end a free run right there. Ball delivered on time. Now your receiver, right? Your slot receiver is here. And again, this only helped the play. Is here. He's going to wall off here. You wall off to the outside, and now you're off to the races on a really good look in 2nd and 5, which is exactly what happens. If you're Florida, this is okay. They just hit you with a really good play. Hats off to them. It's football. Again, if you're a football fan and you think your defense and your team just stop every team you play every single time, you're not respecting your opponent. These teams also are attempting to move the ball and run good plays on you, and they're going to do that, and you can't always stop that, and that's okay. This is an example of that. But you need your safety to come here and make a tackle so it becomes 1st down and 10 and not a touchdown. And this is the stuff that just cannot obviously happen. But again, that's a freshman. That's Jordan Castell. Very good pass defender, very aware guy in the right spot a lot. Not a good tackler yet, right? I think he needs to spend a lot of time for the rest of this season and into the bye week really working on becoming a better tackler, because Florida down the stretch is going to have to get these guys to the ground somehow. And that's a grown man taking out a freshman right there and then rolling to the end zone and finishing that play where nobody's going to get him. And that's good stuff. Good pad level, good low hit. But Florida has a safety there. It's not like Florida got pantsed on this play and he runs through this gap and nobody's there. You've got a safety downhill meeting him right here. If you wrap up and make this tackle, you live to fight another day. But a nice play design to their tight end leads to a touchdown for South Carolina. And this game looks like it is almost on ice. Right, 911 here, dial it up, call the number, we're in trouble. It's going to be 38-27, and that is not going to be good for Florida, but they're going to get a break as South Carolina is going to miss the extra point. So maybe we don't dial 911 just yet. Florida's offense drives down and scores a touchdown, making this a football game. We've seen how difficult it's been for Florida's defense. We've also seen they've had moments and opportunities they've largely not seized to get off the field. But you know what? This is college football. Tune in each and every weekend and look at the scores of the teams you think that might win, that don't win. Look at how these games go. Again, don't assume your team should just win, right? Respect your opponent. But in this case, this is winning time. This is when you want to forget everything you've done thus far and say, look, we have got to help our offense out. They have produced at a level far above what we thought they would have. We were supposed to be carrying a better number here, right? If we did what Tennessee did or other teams did, we've already won this game 34-20. Well, we haven't done it. Let's get a stop now and give our offense a chance. South Carolina's already on 2 plays, driven down and gotten a 1st down. They're moving the ball. Time is running out. Time is of the essence. 1st down and 10. There's the same motion from Leggett, putting him in the slot on Jaden. And Florida is going to sell out here, assuming South Carolina still wants to run the football. Right? 7 guys in the box. Tight end in the formation. We've seen this before. Zone run here from South Carolina. This time, Sapp just wins. Beats him to the spot to the interior. He's going to win on this play by himself and get a tackle. So there's a guy doing his job and winning right off the bat, getting a one-on-one win, getting a tackle for a loss, and setting up Florida for an opportunity to get a stop. If you're Coach Ham, you've had a rough and frustrating day. This was not how you wanted things to go. You wanted to be a rising star. You wanted to be a guy that Florida fans are like, this dude's getting it done. We can count on him. But you've put a lot of inconsistent stuff out there as a coordinator this game. Not meaning the play designs have all been bad as we've seen, but you just haven't performed the way you've wanted to. Well, now on the sideline, Coach Ham is going ham, trying to tell Jaden Hill and the Florida team exactly what this play is going to be. So let's chalk one up for Coach Ham, the great Hambino here. A huge play in a high leverage moment. Notice that Jaden Hill is already running over here. He's already running over here before we see before we see Leggett running over here because Ham is calling this play. Notice the defense flowing, right? He's calling this play. It's coming. Get over here and look at this. Here we are flowing to the ball. There's Scooby with a leg attempt, and there is the aforementioned Jaden Hill, who got sent over there by Coach Ham. And if he does not get sent over there, imagine this might be a little different. He might turn the corner here and pick up some yards. Instead, no corner to be turned. Big time there. Big time ad from the DC Coach Ham on a crucial play in a high leverage moment to bring up a big third down. 3rd and 10, game hanging in the balance. You're Coach Ham, getting the mindset of Coach Ham here. Coach Armstrong frustrated, and he says, you know what I'm going to show you? I'm going to show you 7 guys. I'm going to show you 7 guys. And I'm also going to show you that we could have a sim pressure here. We could drop these guys back. You don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably not going to send 7, but maybe I am, because maybe I'm sick of you picking on my team with Leggett here, taking advantage of Jaden Hill. I'm sick of Spencer Rattler getting away from my pressure on defensive line, and honestly, I'm just sick of this crap. I need to get a stop, get the ball back to my offense. I want a road win. I'm sick of this stuff. I'm going to be really aggressive. I might send all 7. Let's look back over. Hey, coach, are you sure you want to do this? Here's Wingo. Here's a freshman. Are you sure that's what you want? You can see some shoes over here. Yeah, bro, that's what I want. We're freaking cooking. We're going to get in the kitchen. He's like, okay, listen, man, we're cooking. We're cooking, bro. We're going to cook. All right, let's do it. Let's get in here. Let's stop this. And Florida comes out, lays the cojones on the table, and says, cover 0, boys. Let's freaking ride. Manned up here. Manned up here. There's Leggett, Jaden Hill. Manned up here. Manned up here at the tight end. There you go. Locked up in man. Manned up here with Thornton on the running back, right? We are locked and loaded. Running back stays in. We're all coming. So really we're sending 6, an optional 7th if the running back doesn't go out. But everybody's here. 4 guys and a whole football field to go. Princely, as Princely does, speed rushes off the edge. There he is, flying in, creating problems, moving him off the spot. Here comes a freshman, TJ Searcy. He's getting pressure off his gap, and he says, no, Spencer, not today, my friend. You have been doing this enough to us. It is time to get a stop. And then there we are, right there, and that is a stop. Miguel Mitchell, who's not had a great season on film, particularly covering, does his job there, coming out on the tight end. And right here, he's dead anyway no matter what, but this is what you want to see. No space, right? Take him out, bring up 4th down. Let's punt the ball back to the offense and see what we can do. Big series of downs. 5 plays for South Carolina in that drive. The last 3 wind up in a stop with minimal yards gained. When it mattered the most on the road, the defense answers the bell the first time here, giving the offense a chance. Florida with a stunning drive on offense, converting 4th downs and scoring. A little bit of confusion now. What are we doing here? Okay, that's not a great look on 1st and 10. Okay, we're good. We're settled in. Florida's going to play defense really well on the back end. The same matchup we saw earlier occurs this time, except it's going to be Leggett and Kimber running the same exact route we saw, where basically the 50-50 jump ball was shown. I'm happy to report that Kimber is going to turn the correct way this time. He's going to shepherd, just like we saw here. He's going to keep this walled off. Leggett's going to turn his head this way, and so is Kimber, and he's going to keep himself in perfect position. Florida also now is going to play a spy. Here you go. There's your spy right there. There he is. Not rushing, sending 3. Cersei's your spy. This is going to be quality because Florida's not going to get any penetration, but Spencer on his own is going to leave the pocket and like what he sees, and now we have a spy. And this is going to significantly change what happens. Cersei breaks down. Really good job here by Cersei. Look, it's tempting as the spy to come flying in here at 1,000 miles an hour and think, I'm going to be a hero and get a sack. But really what you want to do here is recognize this play is already busted, right? Time is on your side. They got to score a touchdown. Do not give him tons of time. And because he breaks down like this, there you go with Rattler. It's a throwaway, right? Nice contained work. Good job as a spy. You're a D lineman. Respect the fact that he's actually pretty elusive. Nice work here walling him off. Sapp comes in. Big time stop on 1st down from the D. 2nd and 10, complicating matters for Florida here as South Carolina does have all 3 timeouts. So their entire playbook and the middle of the field is open to them. But after a good 1st down stop, let's see what happens here. Motion into the stack. Florida, again, going to handle this. As you can see with the signal here, they're going to east-west this. He's got the first man coming in. Marshall, the first man coming out. Backpedal. And then there it is. There's your first man in. Marshall now's on him, and he's here. Wingo right there on the running back, right? Wingo's on the running back, and Spencer Rattler in trouble. Florida this time with a four-man rush getting home. This is largely what you saw South Carolina's offensive line look like every snap in most other games. Wasn't looking like that today. Florida's going to get home. Spencer can only dump this off here. He throws it before the running back's even looking. It's good quarterbacking, really. Nice and soft. He looks up, finds it. And now Wingo should have him, but there's a lot of space out here. Tough to make a stop. As we've seen before, you want to turn him back to the middle here. You don't want to let him beat you to the outside. Wingo's going to fall for this first hesitation route, get beat to the outside, which is where he wants to go. He's just not fast enough to make that play. And that becomes a first down. So, 30 seconds left. They're driving. However, thankfully, due to the missed extra point they had earlier, they need a touchdown. I definitely wish I could show you the all-22 on a lot of these plays. Florida's defense on so many of them, really good zone concepts. And this is going to be another example of one here. So despite the struggle in this game, there's a lot of stuff you see. And that's why I'll say, look, Coach Ham's a real deal, man. A lot of the stuff he puts on film is legit. As Florida, I think, gets more into the system, gets players that fit the system better, and just cleans up some of these issues, things are going to keep getting better as a general trend direction. And, of course, it is college football. You're still going to have, probably games like this one in differing degrees. But either way, this is a really good design here. Game on the line. Again, we're going to drop back. Here's Wingo. We're going to bring just 4. And how Florida's going to zone this off is, again, very, very nice. So what Jaden Hill is doing is watching the release here of the number 2. If he goes inside, he's going to go with him. And then Thornton, who you can see here on your screen, has Miguel Mitchell far behind him. And Thornton here is going to watch the release of Xavier Legette, the 1. And then he's going to see if he goes vertical. If he goes vertical, Jason Marshall has him. Miguel Mitchell has him over the top, which is exactly what happens. And then because of that, he's going to watch the release here on this side of the number 2 on this side, which you can't see it, but on your screen, his eyes now come here. He's going to wait for this route as it goes right there, and that means you've got Jaden Hill running with the 2, and then you also have, over the top of him, Miguel Mitchell running. Not Miguel Mitchell. You have Bryce Thornton also running with the 2, so a true freshman doing his job, and they are bracketing him basically here, and he is bracketed out of the play on the sticks here on first down and 10. That's quality. That's done. Over here, you have Kimber picking up this route there. Now we're picking up this route right here with Shamar. There's Shamar opening this up. First and 10. We'll give you this little 10-yard throw if you want it with 26 seconds left. Spencer Rattler knows even with 3 timeouts left here, he does not have a ball to throw to, can't take a sack. And now Florida has him in trouble. Look, this is a much better look for Florida. Although you like to see a little bit more width between them, they are going to come on either angle of Spencer Rattler here. I think if Spencer could do this again, he's definitely going to spin out of this or attempt to make a move with 3 timeouts. He's not going to do what he does here, which is take a very ill-advised fling to a guy who's completely covered. He's completely covered here by Jason Marshall. But Spencer Rattler had hit multiple of these, as we've seen in this game. He's thinking, I'll give my guy a chance. Why not? Time is ticking down. And instead, the ball does not get close enough. Miguel Mitchell is on top of this route, waiting for the deepest route, comes downhill, seals the play with a pick, and Florida gets their first road win under Billy Napier of any significance here this season and makes it 2-7 in his career at Florida. Certainly not numbers to be stoked about, but he was 2-7 at Louisiana with road wins, and then he turned it on and won a bunch more road games after that. I'm not sure Florida's going to do that with the way their schedule is this season, but we're definitely going to take this W even after, obviously, here for Florida. There were many, many struggles on defense. Here's the play from this angle. You can see the rush getting home right here in his face. Nowhere really to go with the football. And again, we're bracketing this, right? Perfect. This looks really good. Here was your bracket I showed you earlier. Ends the game. But for Florida, much needed momentum heading into the bye week here with Georgia upcoming. A lot of stuff this defense can fix, but also a lot of the stuff they're doing is sound. It's aggressive. It can work. It's not often that you look at the scheme and think, man, I really don't like what's happening. There were definitely moments in this game where South Carolina outfoxed Coach Ham, I think he knows that for sure. They had some stuff they drew up that was nice. They took advantage of Florida's tendencies and got matchups they wanted. But let's hope that the coaching staff gets together, and I have confidence they will, and begins to take a look at what worked and what didn't work, and they take this time to clean things up, knowing Georgia sees the same film that I see and you see, and they're going to see opportunities to exploit this defense. But either way, a big challenge ahead as Florida will take on Georgia in Jacksonville after the bye week. I'll be here with you to break down that game, as I always am. I certainly hope you enjoyed this film breakdown. As always, for the Gator Nation Football Podcast Film Review, I'm your host, James DiVirgilio. Look forward to being with you. Go Gators.